that same shit we've been talking about, bro. Shook
I was
nigga
about to say, we have preached on this podcast so many times about the importance of a center back, the importance of a holding mid. Obviously, you got a stud of a center back in Ruben Diaz back there.
Yeah.
But to have the balls to go out there against Chelsea, arguably the best counterattacking team in the world right now, and say we don't need a holding mid. We're gonna go all out attack at them all the time and not have to worry about a counterattack. Like it didn't even cross his mind that we might get countered. We might need someone to disrupt that. To have a midfield trio of what was it? Gundogan, Foden, and Bernardo Silva. This is madness. It's absolutely madness. I don't know what he's thinking.
Those are, and Kevin De Bruyne. Those are four midfielders with damn near the same profile. Yeah, each one of them has their own individual quality that makes them stand out from the others. But to me, I think it's just like why would you? Bro, take it away, because
I guess I don't understand why. To me, there's no need for, say, like Bernardo Silva. Like, why is Fernandinho not in that lineup? I like playing Gundogan, especially like if you're trying to be super attacking. I like the idea of playing Gundogan next to like a Fernandinho because he has defensive qualities about him, and he can complement a player like Fernandinho really well.
Control,
but he needs to get up, and if that's what he wants, that's what he's aiming to do. Obviously, he wants him to get up, get involved in the attack, maybe score some goals.
My man scored 13 goals in the league this season, playing that Lampard
and it was like
role
within like 2 months. Crazy.
Right. He switched them partway through the season to that Lampard role, and now he's just cleaning up loose balls, like just knocking them in the net like crazy, always finding, bro, not even like that though, but because when we played City, I watched the game where we played City, and Gundogan's movement up front and his ability to just combine with whoever is on the front line for Manchester City is invaluable, because he's not like he doesn't get the same attention Foden or De Bruyne does, or even Sterling does, but he's really smart at filling in the spaces. So whether he's getting a shot off, whether he's hoovering up a loose shot, whether he's about to have some sexy ass assist, he is very, very lethal in between that second and first line. And for Pep to drop him and make his main role he's the only holding midfielder. That means he has no time, space, or ability to push up. Like he has literally all the defensive responsibility in the midfield. Right. Against N'Golo Kante, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz. You know what I'm saying?
I think too, like the one quality I love most about him is, like we said, that Frank Lampard role. He's so smart at knowing when to make the run.
Yep.
And it's like this calculated decision of this run could potentially turn into something, and a lot of times it has. And so he has that ability to get forward. Let him have that freedom, have an anchor back there to just hold it down for the midfield, so that he has that ability to pick and choose when he wants to just push forward because he sees a goal scoring opportunity or a chance to be created somewhere. It's baffling. It's really baffling.
Why would you sacrifice that?
Yeah, that is the biggest complaint of mine. I liked Kevin De Bruyne starting up top. I know you were kind of like saying they should have started a more traditional number 9, maybe. I don't know if you have more to speak on that.
That was more on the hindsight of 2020 thing, right? So I remember when the game first started, I was of course late, as I always am, but I was late kind of getting to it, and you texted me and you're like, okay, like the lineups had flashed across, I guess, and you texted me, oh, Phil Foden is starting at false 9. I didn't expect that. I was like, oh shit, cool. Here I am thinking he has the same defense. He has Fernandinho or Rodri in the midfield, most likely Fernandinho because he brings that experience and that shit housery. But I'm looking at the game, I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, Phil Foden's up top, which means he's going to combine with De Bruyne, and Sterling starting. Okay, well, he's going to combine with Sterling. They're probably going to free up space for Mahrez. Kevin De Bruyne is going to get a whole bunch of get a chance to really control the game. And then I'm looking at the game and I'm like, man, Manchester City had like the run of play for like the first 15 minutes, but then all of a sudden, like the game just started tilting on this seesaw. Every time one team had the ball, the field would tip in the direction of the goal they were headed towards. You know what I'm saying? Every single time, I'm just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Then I'm looking and I'm realizing I don't see Fernandinho anywhere. All these guys that are in City's midfield are like the same profile, not necessarily bullish. Like, yeah, good tacklers, maybe getting the ball off someone, but not a disruptor, not a destroyer. You have Bernardo Silva on the field at the same time as Phil Foden and at the same time as İlkay Gundogan. That's redundancy. These guys can all do the same thing. They can play midfield. Foden and Silva can do the same thing. They can play midfield. They can play wide. They provide dribbling. Well, Foden provides dribbling. Silva provides more passing. They can both shoot. So, but
it's a great way of putting it, because that's how I felt too. I was like, why is Bernardo Silva in this game? I don't understand. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. Especially when you have Mahrez down on that right side already. Give him all the space he needs. You don't need another attacking-minded player in there. Like, let him eat. Like, Mahrez is disgusting. Just give him the ball.
Yeah, plus Bernardo Silva, I mean, he hasn't got back to the form that he was in 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of looking miserable out there. His season was all right this season, but again, he's kind of just been another cog versus like a superstar or like the replacement for David Silva. But I'm thinking, okay, dude, even if you want to start Bernardo Silva, excuse me, you can take out Raheem Sterling and put Foden out there on the left. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you want to have that interchangeability, you have to have a base for that platform. I don't understand how such an accomplished coach like Pep Guardiola can forget one of the most basic rules of football tactics.
Let me go in. So when I looked at my phone and I saw the lineup, right? Mm-hmm. They had Foden up top as a striker or as a center forward. Immediately I thought, well, for two things I thought. First thing was, this is great for Foden because the fact that he is getting a chance to start on the biggest stage in like club soccer, to go and play one of the most important roles, you can't lose from this. He's either going to come away from it losing and hungry to like go back and win it, or he's going to get a taste of blood and he's going to be like, this is what I play for. This is my expectation every season. Yeah. And he kind of started up there in the first few minutes, but then it very much switched to like Kevin De Bruyne being in that center forward role like they have all season. Fair enough. When I saw that lineup though, immediately I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, okay, KDB playing as like a true set like center mid / center attacking mid. And I'm very like picky about midfields in the sense that like I have one way that I like to organize and structure a midfield that I think is better than any other way, and it's based on that Pep Barcelona model of Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta. It's based on this idea of one CDM, whose primary responsibility is like to be a ball winner, one center, and it's like a single pivot / double pivot hybrid thing, and it's like one box to box Xavi type who isn't
connector,
completely like all like attacking minded. He just gives you a great balance of both, and then an Iniesta type that just gets up and can just connect everything with the attack and be involved and be an attacker, be a connector for the midfield. Yeah. But it's like a leveling up system.
Yeah, literally.
I think of it as, instead of like two holding mids and like one in front, I think of it more as like if you turn it like 30 degrees. You know what I mean? And it's like one plays a little bit higher than the other, and the third one plays a little bit higher than the second one. And to me, that is how midfield. Like I don't stray from that very often. So when you don't have Fernandinho next to Gundogan, next to Kevin De Bruyne, which is like basically the closest thing you have to Iniesta, Busquets, Xavi, like what? I don't understand the the difference in philosophy out of nowhere because he's had so much success with it.
Dude, he always outthinks himself. He always makes some dumbass change at the worst possible moment. I was giving this man kudos because the whole season I'm thinking, all right, he's making weird changes, but at least he's doing it all season. And at least he has like a consistent part of his team, right? At least, I mean, he's flying through the Champions League. He's not switching shit up. He's going in with the same shit that he's doing in England for once, finally. And I'm thinking, okay, he finally got it out of his system. Hell no. He got to the biggest fucking stage.
He waited for the worst possible moment
to try and do some FIFA PlayStation shit. Dude. Like,
that's crazy.
Fernandinho is probably the best leader that Manchester City has right now. He has all the experience. He's won everything. He knows how to control the locker room. He knows how to keep the team calm on the field, and he knows when to fire them up. He has all the experience in the world. Like we told you, youthful exuberance is incredible and it's beautiful to watch, but it always gets defeated by experience. Always. Always, always. And Fernandinho is nothing but a box of experience. He knows how to disrupt a counterattack. He knows how to make a midfield chippy. He knows how to pressure a guy and contribute little fouls and all this shit without getting a yellow. He knows how to disrupt the game for City.
Especially when you are playing an N'Golo Kante who has made a living off just countering teams like Real Madrid throughout this whole tournament.
The best number 8 on planet Earth.
You need a guy that's going to match up with him, and Gundogan is just not going to be that guy.
Because look at what happened with City. City started to get tired. They started to get exhausted. They're not used to having to chase the game. Once that seesaw kind of got set up, Chelsea kind of realized, oh, wait, we can let them come at us. We'll absorb whatever shots they get because City weren't dangerous at all. We'll absorb whatever shots they get.
One shot on target.
I think the police is looking for Reece James because he still has Sterling in his fucking pocket, bro. They were just incredible defensively, and now they realize, hey, give the ball to Conte or give the ball to someone who knows how to make a long pass, and let's just get it. It's a track meet. Right? Remember when I was telling you how Tottenham should have lined up against Liverpool for this Champions League final? Remember how I was saying if I was Tottenham, I would turn it into a track meet and just make sure Son got in behind with Harry Kane every time? Mm-hmm. That's literally what Chelsea did this time. Manchester City weren't used to having to chase so much, to having to run so much. You know what I'm saying? Those midfielders weren't. There was no control. So whether they had the ball or not, they were going 100% the whole time. They're not used to that. It's a Guardiola team. Regardless of however Guardiola feels about possession, they're always going to have more possession. They started to get tired. They started to get frustrated because things weren't coming off. And then as soon as Kevin De Bruyne went off, you could just see all the backbone went out of the team till Fernandinho came on.
Right. I think it's really interesting too when you were mentioning how they should have had a number 9, an Aguero or Jesus starting instead, and you were saying Sterling shouldn't have maybe started this game,
dude.
I think it's really interesting because it's like, yeah, because I agree with you now, looking like hindsight 2020, because you could have gotten that extra attacking power that he's looking for from that front line with a pure striker rather than trying to get it from your midfield in some weird way without a holding mid. Like
Manchester City attack with 6 players anyway. If they're playing against a 3-man back line, why not have a guy who's scary, just has that gravity, you know what I'm saying, who just sucks defenders in towards him.
Someone to take a tight chance too, you know a half opportunity.
Because how many shooters do they have? They have De Bruyne, Foden. I mean, yeah. If you take off Sterling and put on Gabi Jesus, or in my opinion, Aguero, then you have not just Aguero, but you have Mahrez, Foden, De Bruyne, and Gundogan, who can all shoot. Or you bring on Silva, who can also shoot. And you bring on Fernandinho, who can shoot from far. You dig? It's so crazy that, and again, that whole false 9 thing, I'm not mad at it, but
it's worked for them. So in that sense, he's not strained from what he knows.
No.
But it's the holding mid decision that was different, and it's like
bait and switch, dog. I started watching this shit expecting, okay, Phil Foden is his big switch up. I'm like, okay, well, he done this all season. Like, it is what it is. Now look, no stability. Guy had no clue. These guys had no clue how to break these guys down. They're just trying the same thing over and over. They're fullbacks, pin back. You know what I'm saying? Not pin back, but they're falling in for the central midfield role. Well, you still don't have. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna be repeating this. Like, not pay attention to the intangibles of the game. It almost feels as though he almost believes in his own genius that he wants to, like, it. I don't know whether to call it romanticism or FIFA bullshit, but either way, it's negative. It's not good. You outthinking yourself as a coach is probably it's probably hard, right? Because I've never coached before in my life, but it's so strange to see it happen when common sense usually would be the right answer, and everyone else can see it but the coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough decision to understand for sure.
It's so dumb. Bro, Tuchel didn't change shit about Chelsea. We've seen this Chelsea lineup.
He hasn't since the day he took over. The same lineup every single game.
Single time. Why
German consistency?
You know who was even more consistent than Chelsea? Pep Guardiola choosing Fernandinho or Rodri in 59 games out of 60 in the season, and then the last biggest game of the season decides, you know what? Let me do some wild shit. Let me switch it up on these niggas and drop a D mid. No control in the midfield. I don't understand this guy, bro. And you're right. It's so disappointing because, bro, one thing real quick, I love how you described the makeup of a midfield, because that's literally how I think of a 3-man midfield. You have your screener, your defender. In terms of Liverpool, right? For us, it was your screener / defender was, let's say Fabinho, right? And then your number 8 or your
Thiago becomes your number 8 next season.
You know what I'm saying? That becomes our Xavi controller connector guy. And then Gini Wijnaldum, as useless as he was, as useless as he was in terms of goals and assists for Liverpool, plays the attacking mid role perfectly for the Netherlands. So it's like, but everything is based on that defensive platform. I don't care how many attackers you have. Look at how many world-class attackers City had on the field, and it didn't mean a motherfucking thing. So every time they got the ball, it was the same shit. They had no plan Bs, no other options. Yeah, they got a lot of shit off. So fucking weird, man.
I guess, like, to wrap that up, though, just shout out to Chelsea, great season. Shout out to N'Golo Kante.
One last thing, N'Golo Kante for Ballon d'Or. I want Lewandowski to get the Ballon d'Or for last season, and probably for breaking Gerd Muller's record. But I also need N'Golo Kante. If N'Golo Kante wins the Euro 2020, then he will basically have won every single trophy that there is to win as a senior player.